All right, welcome back to ReSpark Fitness Motivation. And this is course 10. And I'm so excited that you made it here. Let's give a round of applause. Woo! I think that's so important that we celebrate ourselves, especially at a moment like this. And I might seem like I come off as hard or a little bit stern or strict, and all of those things are absolutely true. But I'm also all for praise, value, and upliftment as well. And you have done something that a lot of people have chosen to look away from over and over and over and over and over and over and over, not just in our current life, but over the course of human history. A lot of people don't want to rise. A lot of people don't want to elevate. And you have chosen to at least try. So thank you again, and thank all of you, and thank all the versions of you, and thank all of your efforts for making it here to this point, because you've completed the course. Course 9 is the end of where we're at. That was your 10 chapters. You forget there was a 7A and a 7B. But this 11th miracle, this 11th hour here, this miracle hour is to help you see how whenever we start over, whenever we improve on life, there is always a period of celebration. Just like when we mourn the deaths of loved ones, we also can celebrate the birth of loved ones. And this is the celebration of you. This is the celebration of all the things that you've learned. From the moment that you realize that consciousness of self, all the way back down the chapter, course 1, boils down to you just need to realize that your mind is what brings you to the world. And then you learned all the different steps in between for where you can get to the point where you can really even listen to parts of you that you have no control over. That is so beautiful that you have tapped in from the most conscious part of you to the most unconscious side to yourself. But now, in this new world, we have a chance to help others see this self as well. And we have a chance to see other selves. And we got a chance to see when people don't make it. We got a chance to see when obstacles are not overcame. We get a chance to see when certain parts of the body just cannot manage its stress. We can see the things that we do not have, and we can be grateful that we had a self inside that we trusted enough to get us through that obstacle. No matter where it comes from, any of those 9 courses, no matter where it comes from, the 10th course helps us understand that we're living life and not everybody is as lucky. So, this is the new world. In this world where you are on an adventure to respark your soul, you have full control of the things you see and the things you don't. But you might not have the full control of how you can interact with these things of the world. And so we are now on a quest to discover all the tools and strategies of not my own and not my own again, but of another's and of another's again. We are so far away from another person, but we want to find an understanding. I don't know why I'm drawn to this interest. I don't know why I want to take the time to study cancer. No one in my family has cancer. Nobody in my life has died from cancer. Nobody has ever shown me anything regarding that. But for some reason, I just have this feeling that I really want to help people stop suffering from cancer. That is a really good step and a really good example, because for some reason there's a micro version of you that has now found its way on the outside, and you have done enough to where you've practiced many things in your life, and you've seen other people practice things in their life, and then you've seen those themes and those patterns of both you and your family or your coworkers or your friends all practicing these changes of life in your own ways, and you can start to see how categories are now grouped as clusters. And so when I cluster up certain health aspects or ailments or conditions or diseases, we start to see how certain groups of people who are clustered again can have these things and cannot have these things. It can have epiphany or affinities towards things, and it can have resistance towards other things. And we start to see this disparity between the health that we've been trying to remotivate ourselves for. We have motivation, but we now have reasons outside of the motivation that we once gained. We used to be focused on the things of ourselves, but now we're more so focused on the things outside of ourselves. Sorry. And the things that we can control within that. Like that was a pretty good example because I didn't control that, but at the end of the day, I can let it happen, and I'm not going to stress myself about it. Just like I've taught you in chapter 7, that you can take something little like that and you can just let it be little and let it get smaller and smaller away from you. And now that little like nuance within the fact that I'm showing you how you don't have to be bothered by petty things is an example of how you can see those things within yourself when you're not aware of yourself enough, or if you sleep on yourself, meaning you're just going through something new. This is the idea of purposely exploring life. This is the idea of taking the time to look into health, look into medical, don't go become intelligent in these other fields, because really what you're looking for is how smart you really are inside. So it's not about understanding the one thing, it's about knowing that I can be a multitude of things. So if I'm into health and I'm realizing that health is a variety of things, then I can go study a variety of things at different levels, different amounts, different stress levels, and then I can choose to realize the change not in my health, but the health for others. I got a brand new formula. I'm going to cook the same food, but instead of cooking the macaroni and cheese my normal way, I'm going to cook the macaroni and cheese John's way. And then me and John are not going to cook neither one of our ways, and we're going to go and cook Sarah's way. Now we are trying different things from other people, even if we do it the same way. We have a thematic data point. Me and my cousin were able to do this, and nobody else in our family. Is this a trend that says more people in our family are just going to naturally do it? Or are we the ones who were set away and apart two different ways, but in the same manner? We are both separate from our family, but my cousin went to become a doctor, and I'm a radio host. Those are two different things, but we are still more than all of the previous jobs that my family had. We have more education than all of the previous family than our family had in education. We have different capacities. We've been differentiated, but we realize that even from the same cloth, we were cut differently. That helps us really find empathy and compassion for others. So when we're really looking at the empathy and compassion for others, we're looking at the ways and strategies that we can help others, because we understand that if we were in their shoes, we would need a solution. But what if we were the only one with the solution? So it's best for us to give the solution and then say whoever needs it at the time that they need it. Just like when I planted my trees for my grandchildren. I didn't know I was going to have 85 grandchildren. I didn't know that, but all 85 of them got a chance to experience those trees that I planted, because all the previous parents and the layers of the parents before all appreciated it, starting with mine, starting with me, starting with the idea, starting with the thing that was micro and grew to something that was macro. Now I'm looking at how those things happen. So instead of me being a grandpa who plants trees, maybe there's a dad across the street who made a pool in a rock backyard and a water slide. That's their thing. That's their interest on the micro from the deepest core level. So now they're able to see themselves. But we can see that core self too. And the generations after that can see that as well. And so That's the beautiful thing about where we're at in course 10. We're in course 10, but it is the 11th hour. That means it's a one and a one. That means both sides of you know how to go and help the world around you. So we can do the things that are cool enough to help us see, like taking our skill set to an area that can improve an industry. So let's take a look at understanding ourselves. We're all going to be going through these stages, and these stages are going to be the same stages you just explored. And of these stages that you've explored, those things are going to repeat now as a checklist for you and how you should, the thoughts and feelings and emotions and selves you should converse yourself with, and then project out your means of interaction. So, in other words, this is your thought checklist for the selves you need to have keyed in with before you take action externally when helping others. You got to know when it's your right time, and you got to know how. So, stage one, this is a list of Eric Erickson's psychological developmental stages for the human development. Um, we're using his. I've actually used a lot of this. Most of the stuff comes from him, Carl Rogers, and Robert Vygotsky, and a little bit of things on my own. And a lot of these things come from the same practice that we're going to see right now in course 10. So as I read these things off, I want you to think about your initial responses and then know what that means to you, because we're starting from the baby, going up to the old person, starting at the micro, going up to the macro, starting off the youthful birth, then we're going to go into death, and then we're going to repeat the cycle. That is the key, because once we have depth, then you can go back and start it again, and this is what we call repetitions. So, what do we constantly repeat in our mind as we're developing and growing with the details of life? How do we develop? Well, we repeat this cycle right here. So, whenever you have any new experience, the first thing you do is you decide if you trust it or you mistrust it. If you have enough trust in yourself, even when things are new, it's just a matter of saying, do I trust this thing outside of me, or am I mistrusting of this thing outside of me? Step two is going to be autonomy, and then shame and doubt. This is what we call your flight or flight. What am I going to do with this? But you don't have to always fight or flight. You can include more varieties in there because you know yourself. So you can do different things to create spaces that will help you create an understanding of if you can behave like you normally do, or are you doubtful of certain things? Are you mistrusting and doubtful? Or are you trusting but you're shameful? What do I do now? How do I move when I know that this thing is making me feel this way? I'm not going to deny that I feel this way. I'm just going to say, okay, I acknowledge that I'm feeling this kind of way right now. I'm feeling a little doubtful in this, but let's move on. And I can say, okay, is this doubt going to stop me from taking action? And if I stop, am I going to feel guilty about it? And or does it motivate me to take initiative now with zero guilt? What happens if I start or stop? Now you're going to see if I behave in this manner, if I respond in this way, am I going to do the thing that I want to do in the future? Will I be guilty or not? That is the idea of us understanding these details. Because now you say, well, if I don't feel guilty, can I build with this? Or you can say, if I feel guilty, does this make me feel inferior? What do I do in the response of my own self when I'm expecting myself to behave in a certain manner? Well, this is where it comes in down to the first portion of our details, all the way up to course 7, knowing the details of the macro and the micro, because at this point, you have to identify things, and you must realize that sometimes there's going to be confusion when dealing with others. You got to always put the ketchup in the refrigerator. What do you mean? I've never put the ketchup in the refrigerator. It goes on the outside. Two different identifiers, two different actions, one topic, same role, confusion. So we got to realize and identify where the confusion lies. And so in that example, that could easily be cultural. So knowing that we can have a part of us that is going to be a little bit resistant to somebody outside of us, but we got a part of us that's accommodating to people outside of us, you got to tag that part of you out and tag that other part of you in. Again, it's getting a little deep, but again, that's the idea of causing death to things. Then we get into intimacy and isolation. The idea of being able to cultivate and nourish those things that you've decided upon, that you took an action on through your identification. You know your role. Are you going to nurture that? Are you going to help yourself? Or are you going to isolate yourself? Either way doesn't matter because you've already made the decision to go with what makes you feel not guilty or to overcome the sensation of feeling guilty. But what you're realizing is that the intimacy behind it comes with the moments that you can cultivate through your experiences with yourself. So this is the hardest step. But because you understand course 8, you know how to manage those stressors and you know how to manage those difficulties. And because of course 9, you cannot worry and you can just go to sleep peacefully that you don't know and you don't need to, and that's okay. That's going to set you free in order to live your life with integrity. And that integrity comes from the things that you did not have integrity with, which caused despair. But those are the only results that you can have if you decide to change the world or not. If you don't make the change and you're not at the stage of being generative, then you're going to be stagnant and then things die when they're stagnant. That's the end. But the way that we begin again is to say that, hey, my integrity says that I'm going to be going through this thing for genuine purposes, authentic qualities. So even if I feel guilty about something later, I won't be in despair because I tried hard for the right reasons. I tried to be generative. I wasn't trying to stagnate you. I only wanted what's best for you. So now, how does this help us on our journey for long term health? We start to look at other people's problems. So let's say we we had a friend who was overcoming PTSD. By you just knowing how to be a different kind of friend and accommodate for that person will be better for you as a support pillar outside of them. But you must have that friend help you with your anxiety, let's say. And so now we got ways where we can help each other combat our own internal issues that are small, but we can help each other. And now let's say we play video games together, but we don't play games that bring PTSD to my friend, and then we don't play games that bring me anxiety. But what if that was your friend's favorite? What if your friend loved horror games and suspense, but it brings you anxiety? But what if you love shooting games and military, but it brings your friend PTSD? Okay, let's go play football. Let's go play FIFA. Let's go play Super Smash Bros. There's an alternative, and it's the compromise, and this is the understanding that we gain when we help others. When we're helping another, that is the idea. Helping another is to find an understanding within themselves and then to apply that understanding of themselves to some other self. And that's your job too. Our goal is to try to create a platform to where those things can interact and happen. We're looking at creating holes so when we put a seed in there, that seed has a chance to grow. We're creating spaces that can be filled up. But instead of doing it by ourselves, we're trying to do it for others so they can learn how to create spaces for themselves. Even if you can't make a change, you can help them see things that they forgot that they had in themselves. You can respark some laughter. You can respark some joy. You can respark some energy. But if you always approach the same way, then that person will be, again, stagnant. Sometimes you got to go in there and make somebody laugh, even if they're dying of cancer. Why would they have to sit there and focus on death all the time? So bring in a comedian, bring in a superhero, bring in my star, make a wish. What would you have? And that's the key. So I know this is more so like a lecture. I just want to quickly run through our book because, again, this is going to give you more strategies for the things that you need to do in the long term. We've talked about them. And really, that comes down to your environment, your people, your community, the changes that you want to make, and the integrity that you have and how you do that. Meaning that you just knowing that your ego can be wrong. Yes, I can do this, but is it the should it be first? Should it be second? Should it be primary? Should everybody has this? Should everybody not? Who is this for? It's about really understanding the other people and how they got to the same point within you, which is the idea of I want to help make a change. That's what you're here for, to see how I can now work with different people, because you've learned now how to work with different parts of yourself. So let's take a look at the different parts of ourselves that will come with the change. So, challenges and breakthroughs happen all the time. A good way to do this is to understand documentation. So, if you're interacting with people and they're documenting themselves and their lives in certain ways, it's nice to know the different ways you might have the interest in trying. Like me and SoulSpark Radio. I love to talk and just be free to express as if I'm making a radio show and I'm acting out all the roles. There's no confusion, I've identified them, but they're all in the purpose of helping others. So when I look back at those episodes, it's like a media diary for me. It's a journal. And I'm looking at those things in a way that will motivate me. And that's the intention that I have for these episodes to do, so I can continue to motivate myself, which shows you all of the principles that I'm bringing to you. But that is my way to keep myself healthy. A way to keep you healthy was to create this course. And so, as I created this course, and I can give lectures and talks, and I can help actual clients through this course, and I can talk about the books, and I can talk about other people's problems, I can talk about the relationships between them both. Now, I created a means of my internal focus to come on the outside in a way where you just experience, and now you can share. This is the deeper aspect of the things that we've learned. But then it comes into a more surface level into the form of the affirmations. Now, other people have used their life to help influence me in how I created a means of influencing others. We're sharing now. And now I'm sharing the things that help me as easily as you share the things that help you. And we can review these things even if I can express them in my own unique way, which is this equation here. This 9 space equation helps us understand that we always have an opportunity to create brand new. And this brand new idea says that no matter what stage I'm at in life, no matter what point of life that I'm developing through, I can always take some alternative. And here's some routines that I have for myself. I can make sure that I have these things in mind. I can use a reference, but I can know that with me enacting one of these things, I know my health levels are going to change. But because of that, the routines change and I get to have more fun with the stages of my life. So when I'm at the youthful stage, when I want to be a runner or a philanthropist, I'm going to do that. And then if I'm at the stage where I want to be on the road and traveling, I'm going to do that. Now I'm at the stage where I just want to work in the office, I'm going to do that. But I'm going to accept the fact that these psychologies are switching, and I'm going to place the things around me that I need to maintain my routine. And sometimes this means doing things like having a friend group, having people, having a job or a network. This is the idea of being able to connect with others because you have any space and opportunity for you to do so. And even in those spaces, you have a means for creating new opportunities that overlap for you. So, Make sure you see all of these creations that I've made for myself and encouraging my own mental health and my continuing health on the long term pathway. Just like you all have the same ways to live your life too. And I'm excited to see what you can create for yourself. Here, we've created ReSpark Fitness Motivation. And not only do you have these videos, this course, these books, you also have me, and you can have conversations with me one on one. We can get together for webinars, or we can have sessions to where we can dive deep and make real changes. So, either way it go, I'm here for you, and I'm hoping that you're here for yourself. And this has been a pleasure. I'm so happy for you. I'm so excited that you started this journey and you made it to this point. Your trial period is over. You are ready. You have everything that you need. And when you know that you've reached your maximum and you need some more, you can be confident knowing that you can get some more. Nobody's stopping you. There's no restrictions over here. There's only abundance. There's only love. And there's only the love of self and change. So, I'm Mr. Renew. I'm your change agent, helping you make the changes of your life as I make the changes in mine. So, let us continue. Be on the lookout for more soul inspired products to help you and to help me and the future of this world continue on worlding. So, without being too much more of a fool, just know that I love you all. I'm a fool for you, and I'm so happy that you're here. Even if you're making a fool of yourself, you're on a new journey and you've made it to the end. So now what are you going to do? I don't know, but make sure you feel good and look within. Mr. Anu, I wish you the best of luck. Thank you for being here with me. See you next time.